All right, 5:30 having arrived, call the meeting to order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so Fred's not here today, but we have to do our annual pick everybody for what we've done. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I'd make a motion that we leave the roles of the Board of Selectmen pretty much as they are, pretty much exactly as they are in its present state, unless there's any immediate objection.
I agree.
Anyone want to second it?
Second.
All right, so that's chair, vice chair, all the committee assignments and such. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you very much.
We get sick of Steve, we can depose him next meeting.
All right. Review of outstanding minutes for the 13th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I guess Mr. McGarry has,
Since Fred is not here, he did pass on his corrections to me. On page 4, at the top of the back page, last sentence, sentence beginning with private citizens. Private should be in lowercase, citizens should be in lowercase. The next statement, a highway bulk grant, he suggested including from and then the entity. I believe the entity was the federal bulk grant, if I'm not mistaken. The next correction would be down under citizens' comments. In the statement starting John Dubianski, overway to the right, after statement, comma, for internal, for different reasons, he has a question mark. I'm not sure what that means. Under current conflict, internal conflict, second sentence down. Those are the only corrections I had.
anyone else? Go
I
ahead,
would note
Andy.
that I'll abstain from voting because I wasn't here.
So it's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye,
Aye.
and one abstention. Very good. I have an accounts payable manifest in the amount of $554,184.34, of which $500,000 is for the school.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. I have the MS 232, which is the final report of appropriations actually voted in Deerfield. Since the budget passed, these are the new numbers. Could I get a motion for us to sign it?
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have a request to refund $132.58 for the interest paid on map 418, lot 84, located at 93 Raymond Road. And the reason for the abatement is consideration of the confusion of the number of lots to receive tax bill in 2005 and 2016. due to the change of lot lines made by the family, which led to the confusion of the number of bills received and paid. And this is for Robin Jodwin.
I'd make a motion that we grant the exception.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? A request to abate the amount of $182 for the 2016 property tax on map 419, lot 89-1, located at 89A Raymond Road. This is Don Messina. After inspection of the property, data corrections per assessor were made.
Make a motion to approve the abatement?
Second?
Moved and seconded. This would change the assessment from $389,448 to $381,248. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's granted. Two places.
Was there two on the other one also? or
No,
just one?
just one. I have a permanent application for property tax credits. In this case, a veteran's tax credit of $500 for Roland Wallace. Paperwork is in order.
Make a motion that we grant the veterans tax credit?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Credit is granted. I have an additional application for property tax credit exemptions, a veteran's tax credit in the amount of $500 for James Rivard.
Make a motion that we grant the veterans tax credit?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's granted. Notice of intent to cut wood or timber by Charles and Sherry Sanborn on Middle Road. We've received a confirmation from Mr. Reagan that he is willing. Yes, sorry. Missed that top of Phil's side.
All right, put it in there. I try not to make mistakes.
I know.
I do though, once in a while.
Okay, at the election last Tuesday, Mrs. Katie was elected to the trustee of trust funds. I have a note here from her to the town clerk. Because I will be having surgery and I'm unable to fulfill the position in the manner I like to my elected work, I ask you to notify John Reagan that since I haven't accepted the election. He, being the biggest vote getter, is able to fill the trustee position. To which Mr. Reagan has replied that he is glad to accept the position of trustee of trust funds for 3 years. So I would like a motion to appoint him as a trustee of trust funds. All right, wait a
How
minute.
do we have to do the other?
We can't appoint him for 3 years. We have to appoint him for
Year and
a
then run?
year, and then someone has to run.
3.
It says 3, so when you get it,
Do it.
we'll redo it,
Or check on it and see if we can.
or check on it and see if we
Well-
can, but I don't think we can usually. I would think we'd be able to.
Yeah, and I'd just take a minute to thank Mrs. Katie for graciously doing that and letting John take the position.
Because I resigned and he was the second highest vote getter, he fills the position for the 3 years.
We'll check on it.
I'll double check. It'll show up at the next meeting, but I think you're right.
I asked.
Okay. All right, there's that. So we'll move on to unfinished business. The reason specifically for this meeting was for us to start a discussion of how to go about, what are the next steps to selecting a fire chief and building supervisor for 2018. We need to start the process now, and I think there's a committee involved, I think, pretty sure, to tell us basically what we need in the next fire chief and what policies there should be and what, you know, the whole town is basically changing over with Mark's retirement. We need a full-time building supervisor and a new fire chief. So,
I think for purposes of this discussion, we should separate those three.
yes, I don't think we need to talk a lot about the building supervisor, I think.
Unless we're going to make that part of the building
Yeah.
supervisor's job description, that you have to be fire chief.
So I had hoped that we'd have all 5 people here today, but where do we want to start? Go ahead.
Well, I think we're clearly going to need some input from the association.
That was where I was going to go next. So at the
We start with officers.
previous meeting, I asked Mr. Tibbetts if there was anyone qualified or ready or wanting currently on the fire department who could take over as chief, and his answer was no. So, how big of a committee?
As long as Cindy's on it,
Well, I'm thinking Cindy.
rescue,
Mr. Matt Fisher is asked to
right?
be involved.
He's an officer.
Yes. I have one firefighter who'd like to be involved. There needs to be, I think, one of us, and I
One or
would,
two.
I would volunteer to take care of that, or 2.
I think Fred might have an interest, particularly given the work he's put into reviewing policy and
What about a resident that's a
We need a resident.
full-time firefighter somewhere else?
There's a good one.
maybe a resident that's a full-time firefighter somewhere else, and maybe just a resident that doesn't have anything to do with the fire department.
So how many is that? At least 6.
6.
And probably want an uneven number too,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 7 or 9.
So we put out a call for anyone who'd be interested in being involved in a committee to help decide or help select the next fire chief. Is that,
Yeah, or just, I think initially to discuss how we're going to arrive at the next fire chief.
What the future's gonna bring, what
Mhm.
we expect.
If we get 300 people that want to be on it, then we'll make the town administrator select the 7 or 9.
mm-hmm. All right, so we put out a call for volunteers, and it's the 20th. Next meeting's on the 27th. The meeting after that is
April 3rd.
by April 3rd.
Yeah, I think we need to get.
Yeah. I won't be here the 10th, so it'd be good if we could do the 3rd.
Okay, so put that together. Does anybody have any specific guides that we want to give this? Well, we better think about that.
We need, let's get the committee going, and then
get some
I'd like to
names.
see more than Cindy. I'd like to see one more rescue.
We can take it up to 9, but the
Right.
thing is, we need outside influence also.
Correct, but they could be a resident that's on the team. Just like you said, you had a fireman that's
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it.
All right. Anything else?
Just with regard to the building supervisor position, I think we can put together, we've got the job description, and we can put together an ad. We may be a little premature to start that now, but
Yeah.
knowing that we can't make it a requirement of the job,
That's
I'm
not
hoping
the-
that there's
the-
some
the-
local.
The biggest, hardest problem that we have to deal with, but it's just that we're going to, I think we're very clearly going to have to spend more on a building supervisor.
How do you figure that?
We're paying Mark,
I don't know, but how do you figure you could even keep somebody busy 20 hours a week that knew what they were doing? Spend all this money whipping this building into shape, the town hall's in good shape, what are they gonna do?
you wouldn't want a full-time person around.
I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, he comes and goes 30 times a day, checking on things, and I'm not being critical, I'm just watch what goes on. And if the person actually did some of the work, I can see it, but as a supervisor, I don't know what they're gonna do. The bathrooms have been rebuilt, the floors are done, the ceilings are in.
Yeah, I think the problem we run into is finding someone that's going to have an interest in being on call for, if there's not a substantial enough position, we're not going to find somebody that's willing to come out here and shut the sewer off at 2 in the morning, or turn the
Check the
water
furnace
off,
in the
check the
town
furnace,
hall.
that sort of thing.
That's what I'm
Mhm.
worried about, more of a maintenance thing than.
But I think if we get 2 part-time and 2 low ball on the job, we're not going to find people that are interested in saying,
Right.
yeah, I'll do 8 hours a week and
Mhm.
be on call 24 hours in case something happens, is my only concern in weighing
Mm-hmm.
how we want to hold a position out.
I agree with Dick that is there enough for a full-time? So it's a balance we're gonna have to find between
Mm.
what we can find to
All right.
cover it.
It'd be great if they were an EMT and they'd be here for backup
Mm-hmm.
when they're in town.
Our
got
maintenance
the-
director who's an EMT and a firefighter.
We got the job descriptions from the town administrator. We can tweak them. The main thing is getting the fire chief thing
That's what we need to work
moving
on.
moving so that we are ready for the end of the year. Anybody have any other comments? Go ahead.
Just people interested should respond directly to the town administrator,
Right,
just so we've got that on the tube.
works for you. All right. So,
We'll have a few citizens' comments.
other business? Looking at the bill from Attorney Whitley, we seem to have an extra person involved in our defense that I wasn't aware of. Is anyone else aware of?
Not until I got the call.
Okay. So, my understanding of our hiring attorney, Whitley, was to represent the best interests of the town of Deerfield. Are we in agreement on that? Go ahead.
Yeah, we are, and I think, I don't have any reason to believe that either myself or Kate Hartnett will be called back to testify. And that was part of my wanting to fund this is if we have to
Mm-hmm.
provide testimony and witness in these very structured hearings, it seemed to me clear that legal representation would be a good idea. But I don't know that we've got any of that in the intermediate. As we get closer to the final process, there may well be some more. But I think the solution that we've arrived at, where it'll go through the select board or go, I think we could also, have the planning board
Mm-hmm.
authorize if necessary.
Anybody else? Okay. Any new business?
Not that I can remember.
We don't need a non-public. So, citizens' comments. Right there.
What a gentleman. Gene.
Good evening. Jeannie Menard, Mountain Road. Are we allowed to just ask a question as opposed to give a comment? Or is that,
Citizens' comments, but
yeah.
Do what you-
I'll put it out there as a question, and it's mostly just for clarification. Andy, you just mentioned that you're not likely to be called back to testify.
In the
Would that, that's prior to separate from the adjudicative hearings?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And just to clarify, if I could, we don't have any intention of not using the legal funds as appropriate. We just want
Right.
a little bit of steerage on
How we're
who
using
and
it.
when we're accessing the attorneys.
Thank you.
Kevin McDonald, 36 Mountain Road. I know other towns that have been in searching for a fire chief, sometimes they'll bring in one or two neighboring fire chiefs on a committee as well. Thank you.
thank you.
Good idea.
Real good idea.
Anyone else? All right.
All set?
Yeah. Looks
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
like- All those in favor say aye.
I could have had my way.
Thank you all for coming.